want to thank you for joining the Four Tales podcast.
I want to know what it is Quick is trying to say.
We're about to talk some comics and get a little bit controversial. Everything from indie books to movie deal level commercial. With no rehearsals when we converse to coerce you. And then we do the quick takes and try to get to the person. So join us and get your comic book a few more sales once a week wherever you pod. It's Four Tales. Once a week wherever you pod. It's Four Tales.
Are we doing this again? Yes, we are. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Taurus Comics in collaboration with Fourth Wall Productions respectfully brings to you the 196th episode of the Four Tales podcast. I am your host, Kyrun Silva from Taurus Comics. Across the way is the pomegranate stringer of Ace Blade, Danny and Quick. Together, we are your two award-winning Blur comic creators here to help you find your next favorite comic. We are live by Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok. So if you're listening or watching us live, thank you for your support. But don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and review this podcast because all your positive reviews and interactions help us reach a bigger audience. Danny J. Quick, I feel like I just talked to you.
Oh, wait. You literally did. You literally did.
I'm sorry. I messed up. Danny Jeremiah Quick.
You can feel like I just. You don't have to do that. You can just. No. Pomegranate is purple. It's close enough.
Look, don't question me on my purple and my writer synonyms. Okay, I get these from Google. Okay, I get these from Google. Do you not understand how much time I spend looking these up, fish? I get these. William Withers, what's going on, sir?
How you doing there, sir? William Withers in the building. Man, yes, we just talked, and I'm happy to be talking to you again, sir. What's new in the last hour?
My family's making dinner right now.
Okay. Yeah, you didn't cook. Yeah. Do you not? You just don't cook on Fridays? Is that it? Because I know you normally cook.
Because we're doing our show at the time I would normally be cooking dinner for my family. So what they graciously do is because I don't cook, they cook. But that also means I have to wash and clean the kitchen afterwards.
Oh, yeah, I do all those things. So,
why?
And then wash the dishes and clean. What? Well, the kids normally actually wash the dishes during the week, but I have to wash them after they wash them because they have to be done right. That's another conversation for another time, though.
You're right on that one. Mr. Fish, yes, I do them within the hour before the show. That is correct. How about you? How things been within the last 20 minutes that we talked? Just great. Inside joke, if anybody doesn't know, Danny and I just did another episode an hour ago. That went amazing, by the way, like no technical issues. And now we're back for a second episode that's going to go just as great, I'm assuming.
It's going to go even better. Better. And I know it's going to go even better because we've got a very special... Wait,
you didn't tell me what happened.
Oh, literally nothing. I just literally sat in this chair for 20 minutes and drank some Crystal Light. That's what I did.
Trail mix?
And some trail mix. That's literally it. But we have an amazing guest. I'm here in North Carolina, and if you live anywhere on the East Coast, you probably know about Acme Comics, which is, I believe, the longest running or Greensboro's original comic book store since 1983. I don't know how long Jermaine has been working there, but I know it's been a long time. We call him Lord Retail, and we have him in the building. It's Jermaine Exum, and he's doing the secret villain.
Yeah, seriously, he's doing like the Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget there.
Next time, Gadget.
You just need a Persian cat or something like that in your lap. How you doing there, sir?
Well, I've been at work for almost 11 hours, so you're getting the best of me. You're getting the best of me right now. But I've had 3 donuts. I've had a couple of scrapes of guacamole dip earlier today, and I'm excited to talk about comic books.
All right. So, biggest question that our listeners want to know: How far away are you from Concord? Because we need to make sure internet doesn't go out.
Well, to pronounce it correctly, it's Concord.
Concord, that's right.
Okay,
that's right.
From North Carolina, it's Concord.
With that, about an hour and some assorted minutes away from there.
Okay, all right.
But bad internet can happen to anyone. Okay, it can happen to anyone at any time.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
That's true.
That's true.
That's very true.
Maybe even you.
Maybe even you. Only
Not
you
me.
can prevent bad internet. Well, Jermaine, for anybody who may not be familiar with you and your work, just give our audience a quick introduction to you and your brief history in comic books.
Brief history. I don't know where to begin. So I've been reading comic books, I guess, since maybe 1982, 83. I thought it was 84, but I have books older than that I remember having. Came to discover, because I was a spinner rack kid, but came to discover a store around 1988, 89 that sold nothing but comic books, had like new comic books somehow, old comic books, just like that's what the business was. I'd never seen anything like that before. Didn't even know that was a thing. But ever since then, that's what I wanted. Got to go to Acme Comics, got to go there. Around 1996, post high school, job opportunity came open. I'd been kind of helping out around the shop. That's how you get a job at a comic book store, by being at a comic book store. So I'd already been helping out, got an actual paid job position in 1996. And I worked my way up from fry cook, cleaning the grease traps that shouldn't even been here, on up to owning the store, maybe like 5 years ago or something. I don't know how long it's been because I'm here all the time. But yeah, that's a short version of what is all this?
Comics. Just comics.
Now, I have one question that I have not gotten the full answer for. I've asked you this question before, and I'm going to ask you right here on this show.
In front of all these good people, yes.
In front of all these good people.
From the millions and
millions of the Four Tales fans, I want you to explain to me, where did the nickname Lord Retail come from, or how did it originate?
Okay,
that was going to be one of my questions too.
Yeah, so here's the super short version, but it's going to be long anyway. So I'm at a Wizard World Chicago convention, pre-C2E2. It was a Wizard show, right? And I'm at a panel with Brian Michael Bendis, who was a writer I was newly interested in, and he had a panel. And I never really did panels at any convention. Didn't even know what it was, but that one, I wanted to go to that one. And I don't remember if it was the one where there was a back and forth with Bob Wayne from DC over doing a Daredevil Batman or not. I don't remember if it was that one, but I was there for that one. At any rate, he had people on the stage with him, on the panel stage. And I kind of assumed that they were like, family members or something. So I thought was going on. Come to find out, they're members of his message board, which I didn't know what that was. Didn't know that was a thing at all. But for some reason, I got it in my head that I'm going to be on that stage next year, which is insane. That's not normal to think that way for me. But I was like, I'm going to be on that stage next year. So I got to find out, what is this message board thing? Jinxworld.com message board, which was like the place to be around the early mid 2000s. The place to be. Creators were there, publishers were there, fans were there for real. So I'm setting up my account, and I'm like, okay, I got to pick a screen name. Your screen name is with you for life. You can't mess around with the screen. You got to pick a good screen name. It follows you for life, right? So I'm literally sitting here at the store. I believe it's after close. I'm sitting here at the store for like an hour or something, or it's sitting in front of the screen on that one little, screen name, just sitting there. And I recall one of our customers who I inherited back from the original Acme Comics, days, early 1980s days, it stuck with me, was, he's unfortunately passed away, the late science fiction writer, Mike Foster. And here's the thing. Great guy, stories about the working aboard a submarine, just an incredible life, this man. One day he comes in and he starts bowing, calling me Lord Retail. He's never said those words before. I don't know what that is. He just started doing that. It's like, yeah, Lord Retail, Lord Retail. I was like, okay, Mike, thank you. And in that moment, I was thinking to myself, that's it. That's it, Lord Retail. I'm pretty good at selling comic books. Comic books is retail, like other stuff. Lord Retail, that's it. And here we are today. So that's the origin of that story. And it makes no sense, right? For this person to randomly say that. It's almost like I had no choice. It's like Anakin Skywalker. Did he have a choice, or was all that stuff going to happen to him no matter what?
You know what? I always think that stuff that happens like that, because things have happened like that to me a lot of times. Things just happen to be in the right place at the right time that never would have happened. I'm always like, this is proof that time travel is real. Somebody needed Lord Retail. You needed to be Lord Retail.
And an event. It was a canon event.
It's a canon event that you had to be Lord Retail, and you were sitting there, and he was like, man, this guy's never gonna get it if I don't come here and say these words.
Just need a nudge. Just need that nudge.
Just need a little nudge.
But there was. So that's the story. That's what that was. Because I wouldn't dream of calling myself that, but somebody else did it for me.
So now I need to know, do you have a shirt that says Lord Retail by chance?
We're not quite to that rollout yet, but maybe hold tight. Maybe something. Something someday.
Make sure we get one in purple, please. I need
the name rings out in weird ways to where sometimes I'll be at a convention, right? And I'm interacting with the creator, and like introduce myself, the store, we carry your product, blah blah blah. And somebody from across the room will say, like, hey, Lord Retail, which is weird for me to say that out loud. But they'll say, hey, Lord Retail. And the creator will be like, that's you? I didn't know that was you. And it's a whole different interaction, in a positive way. Because I do a lot of, I was heavy on Twitter for years. I do more on Blue Sky now, but I will try to be an advocate of comic books, even if you are not in Greensboro or North Carolina to shop. I'll mention like, hey, this book is good. If you see this book on the shelf on Wednesday, you got to grab this book. Or if you like Gambit, make sure you don't bypass Fantastic Four. Just saying. I'll give a little tip offs for people on Tuesday evenings on Blue Sky.
So, Danny has talked about Acme Comics for like years, and even though I was in the area last year, he did not want to take me to Acme Comics for some reason.
That's not true.
But I want to know, like, what makes Acme Comics so unique?
I'm here all the time, so it's hard for me sometimes. But what I hear other people say is that the store is very well laid out. I like to place things. We like to place things in a manner that if you don't ask us any questions, that you can still figure out, okay, this is where variants are. This is where the Star Wars section is. If you ask us no questions, which please do. I love questions, but if you don't, you can still figure out what's going on here.
That's smart though, because most comic readers don't like talking, so that's smart.
Yeah, I love talking to people. Well, I'm an introvert, but when I'm in here, I can be a different way.
When it's about comics, it's always easy. I will say, first of all, Kyrun was lying. If we had a chance,
wait, was I not in North Carolina? Was I not in North Carolina?
But there's no. If
I flew from California to North Carolina,
if we had time, there's no way I wouldn't have brought you to Acme Comics. Listen, there's no way.
Who did the scheduling? There's no time for Acme Comics. Who did the schedule?
He flew in. We literally ate.
We don't need to know the details of everything. So Jermaine.
But I will say one thing about not only you, Jermaine, but Pete, Mia, and the whole staff that you got there. You guys really do know comic books. Like, your people. I've said many times that I feel like I don't even have to say, Jermaine, can you put this on my list? Because you know me well enough to know that I'm gonna like something, and you'll just put aside a book for me. Is that a testament to just being in the business for so long, or is it just that you love people, or how do you develop that skill as a comic book store owner?
It is very difficult because each week, final order cutoff waits for no one. Each week, from each publisher, you have to turn in your numbers, and those numbers are what they use to determine their print run. So it's difficult to know, should you have 25 copies, should you have 23 copies, or should you have 300 copies? It's hard to know because your numbers are your numbers. 9 times out of 10, these books are not returnable. Okay, so what the store has purchased is what the store has purchased. some publishers are more of an ally to you, and other publishers are like, well, we sold them to you, so best of luck with whatever you guys are going to do with them. But like for example, it's not a spoiler, but Static is going to be part of the New Titans team. Now, he was with Teen Titans a number of years ago, but he's going to be part of the New Titans team, and it's going to be in a much higher profile manner right now. So I got to think about who are my milestone, must not miss any milestone content people, and they got to be built in. They have to be built into that New Titans number, to the point where, you know, if you didn't have one, Danny, you'd be like, well, what's the deal? You know, I like milestone. Yeah. You know, I like milestones. That's the thing. I do know you like milestone. I do know certain people like X-Men. Certain people like Star Wars, to the point where they're going to be expecting Star Wars. Okay, and if I don't have them, then either they're going to get it somewhere else because they get Star Wars. They're going to get it somewhere else, or they might actually be a little like, come on, man, you know, I get Star Wars for like 10 years from you. You know, what's the deal? Now, everyone's not that way. Some people, I really do need to hear from them, you know, what their precise wishes are. But there's some people in our clientele base that I feel like I know them well enough. You know, I don't know what kind of shoes they wear or if they're vegetarian or not, but I do know that they like DC Comics, that type of thing. I do know these things. It's all about observing. It's observing the customer, especially because sometimes what a person says, I don't want any more events, no more Marvel events. But what they do is pick up all the Road to Armageddon stuff. You know, you got to observe all manner of what's actually going on in the store.
So
go ahead,
I know it's your turn, Kyrun, but
no, go ahead.
Let me get one more in here. So you just said something very important. You said final order cutoff. Okay. Yes. Now, this is something that, you know, maybe not all comic book fans know about. As somebody who's behind the scenes, you know, in ordering these comic books, do you feel like it's your job to educate your readers, your customers on what final order cutoff is in that process of ordering comics? Because, you know, I literally will just see something I like and tag you on Facebook, but I know the majority of people don't do that.
So in today's world of 2026, that term, and it's abbreviated to FOC, which I usually like to verbalize, final order cutoff, because that holds more meaning than FOC. Or what I'm going to do is I'm going to say purchase orders are due. Purchase orders are due. And that's kind of even more straightforward language. Purchase orders are due on Monday. Okay. So that means if you decide you want a certain cover on Tuesday, Thursday, it might be too late. It might not be, or it might actually be too late, because in a lot of cases, it's shut down almost immediately. You know, the new Dungeon Crawler Carl graphic novel that came out, that was on back order 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. So, you know, if your order wasn't locked in pretty early on, individuals or the stores, you know, we couldn't decide, oh, we need 50 more. No, maybe if they do another printing, yeah. But I don't often. It's important to me to not make, unless a person really wants to know how the sausage is made or really wants to know what our challenges are as a business, I don't really necessarily like to do too much of that. But at the same time, the reality of it is this, for example, the new Spectacular Spider-Man series, okay, that just started last week, I believe. That's got Spider-Man and Punisher and Kingpin and Mr. Negative. Great first issue for established or new readers, by the way. But right now, that is a 5-issue miniseries. If numbers aren't there, whatever Marvel wants out of numbers, whatever that is, it's 5 issues. Okay. Now, if the numbers are good, if pre-orders stay strong, if issue number 3 somehow stores order more of that than the number 1, which could happen, then maybe we can get to a second story arc. Maybe we can get to issue 10. But it's all about that final order cutoff, in that if you're into Spectacular, but you don't put it on your list till issue 4, it's kind of too late then. You know, pre-orders mean so much. Pre-orders mean so much. If I have, for example, 7 people to pre-order a series that hasn't come out yet, then that lets me know I probably got to get 25 copies. If 7 people will verbalize, that many more would buy it if they saw it. So pre-orders everything. By my math, anyway.
There's a great comment here from Dave Cerrone. Dave Cerrone, Library Kid.
Hey.
Jermaine does a great job of letting customers know about what's coming up and telling people to pre-order when his spider sense says a book will sell out. Okay. So you have a spider sense when it comes to comic books and whatnot is what I'm finding out. You have superpowers.
I don't like to talk about that. It makes people uncomfortable when I do, read people's minds. They don't like that. It's cool in comic books, but they don't like that in real life. So I try to not, too much of that. But on the one hand, some publishers will make ahead of your final order numbers. They will give you a PDF preview copy. Like, for example, DC Comics was gracious and thoughtful enough to make sure that stores could read the entirety of Absolute Batman #1 before putting in any kind of numbers. Now, had they not done that, I would have got the order even more wrong than I already did. I should have tripled, quadrupled the number I had in mind. But being able to read the first issue and instantly, all right, this person's got to see it. That person's got to see it. This person can't miss it. This is a thing, right? But Marvel, for example, for Ultimate Spider-Man #1 showed us nothing but some covers. Nothing but some covers. They don't do PDFs. There was a creator that I won't name by name, but did show a PDF of an upcoming book and kind of got stung for doing that. Got penalized for doing that. But if I can't see what a thing is, if I can't see fully what a thing is, how am I going to sell a pizza if I have not tasted the new pizza we're rolling out the next week? We're rolling out the new pizza in 2 weeks. Do we get to try some? No, you do not. You can try it with everybody else.
Fish has a question that sort of is connected to what you just asked or what you just said. Does anything make you take a chance of an unknown comic if no one's asked for it? So I'm assuming you talk about after you've seen those PDFs, what makes you really want to take that chance on it?
Well, sometimes there'll be a creative team that I may know to be good. There are many creators on the shelf right now that people don't know their names. They simply don't know their names. You could ask a percentage of customers, who's your favorite artist? And they might say Jim Lee, the same they would have said 10, 20, 25, 30 years ago, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But there's some amazing, talented, skilled creators on the shelf that people are enjoying it, but perhaps not really putting the names together. There's and he's not new. But there's a creator, Chris Condon, who this week for Image Comics, he had a book called Of the Earth. And for Marvel Comics, he's doing the Reborn, what's it called? Ultimate Impact Reborn, okay, at Marvel. And I really feel like for the first time this week, in relationship to Of the Earth, I could say, hey, it's the new Chris Condon book. That's all I had to say, that he's arrived. All you have to do is say, it's the new James Tynion, the 4th book, and people are like, sign me up immediately. Don't know what it is. Sign me up immediately. There's certain creators that they're getting there, and I'm noticing it. I can say, this is the new this person book. People are okay with it. That's happening for Stephanie Williams. I can say, this new Stephanie Williams book. All right, okay, let's do it.
Yeah. Special guest at this year's CrockerCon, Stephanie Williams, by the way.
Yes, and today is her birthday, so happy birthday, Stephanie.
It is. Happy birthday, Stephanie.
I posted something earlier, probably maybe a couple of weeks ago, and I would call myself celebrating because I had read 50 comic books at that time. I went back through my books and I was like, hey, I've read 50 comic books at this time. I think Jermaine replied to that comment and said, I read 40 comic books today. And
I wasn't going to be that guy, but you caught me at the wrong moment. I'm like, well, that's great. Did that. However, here's how we're living over here. So,
but
the job is I've determined it to be for myself, not for any other business. But the job is I've determined it to be for myself, going on 20 plus years. Is every Tuesday night, I'm going to read as much as I can. So on Wednesday morning, when I say a book is good, I'm not saying it should be good. I'm saying I know that this book is good, so I've read it. Now, what that does mean is that I could be reading comics, usually, depending on when I leave work, find food, absorb food, I could be reading from 10 p.m. up until 1:30, 3 a.m. sometimes, depending on how much I have to read. So I read between 15 and 25 comics on every Tuesday night for years. Now, if I don't read on Tuesday, it kind of doesn't get read, which is why I'm behind on Absolute Lantern, which is my own fault. I let myself get behind on that one. But somebody asked me like the math on it. Most comics are about 22 pages, give or take, sometimes 48 pages, depending. That's a lot of pages every week. Now, ask me what my zip code is. Ask me what my blood type is. Couldn't tell you. Could not tell you stuff. I can't do regular people stuff. But what I can tell you is that everybody loves a Jewel Thief #2 is as good as #1 because I read it.
That's awesome. Dave asked a question. He wanted to know, Jermaine, how do you deal with guessing how many copies of #2 and #3 to order before you know how people respond to #1?
That's the thing with comic books. And again, I don't like to peel back too much curtain or put pressure on people because people need to buy what they want in the way that they want, in the manner that they want, in the time that they want. But here's the thing to think about if you want to. When you are picking up an issue #1 to check it out or just like, is this any good? Your store is determining how many copies of #3 to get. Hold up, 3 fingers. Yes. How many #3s to get? And that math is crazy, right? Because it takes people time to read a thing, or maybe they're letting the whole series, pile up, or you just don't know the immediate feedback. But you've got to turn in that number on the 3rd issue of a thing. So the usual science of comic books is there's going to be #1 attrition. People are likely to buy a first issue, may not come back. Maybe what they want to do is only buy first issues, have a collection of #1 issues. There's nothing wrong with that. But
he didn't say 10 issues of issue 10. He said issue 1, sir.
Oh, that's different. Okay.
Yeah.
But there's always going to be attrition where you want to make plenty of #1s available, but you're going to start scaling it back pretty quickly. Now, if you're noticing a series really isn't working out at all, you might cut it hard. You might cut it too hard. Or it could be there's some sort of buzz happened to where it needs to bump back up again. It's you cut it too hard. But something good that DC Comics is doing, and I think that they got the idea from Energon Universe, Transformers, Void Rivals, G.I. Joe, is to constantly reprint single issues so that people can come in the store at any time and buy a single issue of your series. The old thinking is that when the graphic novel is out, you're certainly done reprinting. And that's kind of what Marvel did, is when the Ultimate Spider-Man graphic novel came out, there were no reprints of issue 3. There were reprints of issue 1 because now you have a graphic novel available. But Skybound is still reprinting Transformers #1 as stores need it. They're still reprinting Transformers #27. They're still doing that. DC Comics is keeping Absolute Comics available on shelves, which is great that a person can come in and get caught up on single issues to sample them or decide they want to collect single issues until they need the latest issue. That's outstanding, but not everybody does that. Not everybody can do that. Don't know if I answered the question or not, but like I said, I'm operating off of 3 donuts and been here for many hours. You get what you get.
I think that is good though. We had I've had probably 4 people, reach out to me personally and say, "Hey, do you know where I can get, the first couple of issues of Absolute Batman or Absolute Wonder Woman or something like that?" And fortunately for, like you said, some of the Absolute books, they're reprinting those books. I mean, I know Absolute Batman is like its 10th reprint or something like that. It's crazy. But it's still possible to find those books. Now you're not going to be able to find the first printings, which are going for hundreds of dollars online right now. But if you want to read the story, you can still get some of those. So I think that's really cool and really valuable. So what I do want to ask you.
Well,
go ahead.
I'm actually do want to. Mr. Fish says what he's hearing is he needs to make friends with my local shop owner. I mean, do you recommend that? Just because I'm really good friends with my local shop owner. Shout out to Ben Schwartz of Empire's Comics. Do you like it when your customers try to interact with you and get close with you like that?
I mean, I'm not necessarily trying to like have lunch with everybody out of the billboard or have a conversation at the post office. I'm not necessarily trying to do all that, but there's some people that I know what they like. They're effectively letting me manage their pre-orders. They're letting me manage their comic book collection, which I'm happy to do that. There's some people I've known for decades, couldn't tell you what they like. Don't know what they like. Don't know what movies they like. I don't know anything about the person because that's just not how it works in that instance. But if your comic shop is a good comic book store that you feel comfortable there, you feel comfortable recommending other people go there, perhaps new readers or families like, yes, go to this store. It's really good. I love the place. Then, do kind of chat about comics. Let your shop owner know, like, hey, there's a new graphic novel coming up. Will you make sure I get one of those? Because especially, they love doing that. It's like, will you make sure I get this hardcover? They'll set one aside for you instead of putting some on the shelf. All right, we got to hold this one because this person's expecting this from us. So if conditions are right, then I think it is a good thing to get a little closer with your comic shop. It occurred to me, I think somebody mentioned it the other day, that we may be the only business that people utilize where they might talk to the staff, or we might be the only independently owned small business they interact with in their week, in their month. Mm-hmm. And there's something to that.
Kyrun?
I thought you had another question. Is it just on me then?
It's on
you.
All
right, fine. All right. A lot of our listeners are independent comic book creators, so I do want to ask, as someone who makes comics and following up what we talked about, how hard is it for you as a retailer to make space for those indie comic creators and trying to help support them, like a Danny J. Quick or somebody? Like, how hard is that for you?
So here we do have the luxury of space, and we have the luxury of that space being modular, in that we can move shelves around pretty easily. We can adjust things pretty easily. And I know every store is not like that, but we're pretty lucky here that we can accommodate different things. Now, there's a lot of stuff in here. This is a very bright and colorful, and as far as retail goes, noisy store. If you're like a new person, you're like, what is all of this? Well, I don't even know where to start looking at these things. But, again, if you are an independent comic book creator and you have a type of rapport, with a comic book store, because you kind of you don't want to just show up with like, buy my product. You want to let them know who you are. They certainly would like to see you, frequent the place, shop the place. And then when it's time to say, I actually make a comic book, would you like to see it? Then it's a little different, because you've already kind of established yourself. Establishing oneself is important in many different realms. But when it's time, if you're comfortable, you can kind of say, this is a book that I make, and I have a program where retailers could buy, at a price that they're able to resell, and kind of go from there, kind of talk about it.
It's sort of like dating. It sounds like you get to know the person, and then when you feel like you're close enough, you ask the question. That's what.
Yeah. Nobody likes a cold call. Nobody likes a cold call. There's a publisher. It was a busy Friday evening, and I pick up the phone, and it's a publisher that kind of wants to introduce themselves, see how things are going. I said, look, Friday at 4:00 is not the time for this. Sometimes I'm a little too frank with people, because that's the story for all of their time. I say, look, Friday approaching after work, after school is not the time for this call, because I've literally had to walk away from customers that needed me in order to do this with you right now. Thursday is a better day, because it's not new book day. It's also not approaching the weekend. Thursday is a good day to make some calls, introduce oneself as a retailer relations and that type of thing. But it's not a Friday. And I told the guy, do call me back, but for future reference and for future calls, don't call at this time on a Friday. Don't call on new book day. Don't call a comic book store on new book day to talk about your amazing new product. Don't do that.
Right. I do got one more question before we get to quick takes. I do remember you were talking about that you have the luxury of space in your comic book store, and I remember at one point you did, I don't know how long ago this was, Jermaine, but y'all kind of redesigned the layout of the store. And at that time, there was a big discussion about, manga and pops and things like that coming into comic book stores. And it was kind of controversial, I think, for some people. But I know you guys actively made space for those things. And that was one of the reasons that my children, my very own children, enjoy coming to the store, because they're manga readers and they like to collect toys and pops and things like that. Can you talk briefly on like your decision to kind of open up the shop to different kind of audiences and things like that?
So first thing, Danny, the store looks different from the last time you were in here. Okay.
Since Free Comic Book Day?
Yes, that's how much we keep it. Like we try to keep things fresh. This is always a work in progress. I personally believe that each spot on the sales floor has a certain amount of like retail energy, and at one point it's going to be like completely tapped out. So as much as I may love a display, it could be time for the display to go, and there'll be another hot spot in the store. There'll be another area of the store. It's like the place to be. Display is working. People are drawn to it, until it's kind of not that anymore. And I have to notice, and I also have to decide, I love this display, but is it done? And if it's done, it's got to change up. It's got to change up, because displays must function. They got to work.
It's got to transform.
So the thing that we must never forget, and I usually don't miss a moment to bring it up, especially when parents come in and they say, I'm looking for manga, because they really don't know what they've just said. Manga is the Japanese word for comic book. That's what that is. Manga is comic books. Okay? Let's not make it into some other like weird, cousin or something. Manga is comic books. Okay? It's just a different format. And I remember a time carrying manga here that it just kind of wasn't, it was the thing until it kind of wasn't the thing, because then Borders, Barnes and Noble, they got in the mix. And they became the place that you go to get manga, right? I think that there was an element of, since we're speaking frankly here, there's an element of, you just go online and click on this website, and that's where you get your manga from. And I don't think people thought they were pirating or intended to. That's just how they did it. That's how you read this stuff, right? So there was a time where manga, we phased it out. It wasn't a thing anymore. But then there came a time, and I don't remember precisely when it was. I don't know if it was during COVID, when people were indoors. It might have been when kids were indoors looking at stuff on TV, discovering things. What's this Naruto thing's been around forever? What's this Dragon Ball Z thing that's been around forever? But manga is comic books. And as such, it has a place here. I know all stores don't consider that to be so. All stores don't have space to devote to a thing that perhaps not everybody can. I can't really hand sell manga. I can't do that. It kind of bugs me a little bit. There's certain things I know, but again, manga is comic book. There's trillions of different things, and I can't know what all of them are. Things go in and out of fashion. 1 minute, what's it called? Fire Force is the thing until it's not. Now, Apothecary Diaries, that's the thing. Right now, that's the thing you got to have. So it's a lot of trying, especially ordering months in advance. It's kind of difficult to ride that wave of interest. Or you think a thing is done. You think nobody wants Demon Slayer anymore, but then the movie's in the theater. Everybody wants Demon Slayer again. It's its whole other creature. It's a whole other thing. So if you're going to do it, you really have to stay on top of it, or maybe have somebody in your life, that's a manga person, an anime person, and you listen to what they're saying about what the next big thing is going to be, or what they're excited about soon, or what's about to come back. You listen to them, or you listen to your customer. If we have someone buying manga, I will often ask, "Hey, what do you think the next big thing is going to be, or what are you excited about coming up soon?" And I kind of listen to what they say, and if enough people say it, that's what it is.
There you go. I like it. I like it a lot. All right. Well, now is my favorite time of the show. We're going to do quick takes. Kyrun, whenever you're ready, sir.
Quick takes.
A lot of purple there. Awesome. All right. So
I got slow takes. I got room temperature takes. So I don't know what's about to happen here.
We'll go as quick as we can. It'll be 100 times faster than last time. All right. So, if you have not seen the show before, Quick Takes is a rapid fire Q&A session where we grill our guests on their deepest, darkest secrets from the internet. These questions are designed for our guests to get to know you a little bit better. I'm gonna ask you 5 questions, and you're gonna have 45 seconds each to answer them. Starting with question number 1. And this is a perfect time to ask because I know you're probably your stomach is probably scratching your back right now. So you, sir, the only other thing I ever see you post about other than comic books is a solid meal, is a good meal. So I want to know in 45 seconds, what is the perfect meal for Jermaine?
I gotta say, sushi is my comfort meal. It really is. You know, there's a time where I was eating California rolls, thought I was doing something, but now like actual sashimi and way too much wasabi. All right, I want to know that I'm alive. Okay, I want to feel that rush of wasabi. But that's kind of where I'm at in life. I'm not declining a sushi. I had some Harris Teeter sushi last night. Nothing wrong with Harris Teeter sushi. There's not. If you know, you know. Grocery store sushi could be the place from time to time. So that's kind of my thing. That's my anytime.
All right. I know where to get you a gift card from for your birthday. All right. Question number 2. There's a big fuss going on with comic book stores and retailer exclusives. I want to know, where are you in the war of retailer exclusives? What's your perspective on that whole thing?
The way I feel about personally is that a retailer exclusive, and we've done some in the past. We've done some really cool ones. It's got to be something that looks just right. It's got to have something with a long lifespan that people are going to want for more than 3 months, 2 months. Something they're going to discover out in the world constantly and turn in an online order. It's got to be something universal, something that has a long lifespan. We've got a new exclusive cover coming up real soon. We haven't done one in a very long time. We got one coming up real soon. And when I'm ready to talk about it, we'll talk about it.
All right. Hey, I like that. Okay.
No, right. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. This show is Spoiler Town. And you press every one of our guests about dropping spoilers. He opens the door of like, hey, I can spoil this. And you don't even press him on that?
I don't believe in spoilers. I don't press. I fold.
Wow. Wow, Danny.
Jermaine's different, man. I see. I mean, I love all our guests, but Jermaine is different. I'm not gonna press Jermaine to give us anything. I will ask him behind the scenes though. So, question number 3. In 45 seconds, I want to know your honest opinion. What, in your experience, in your time being around comic books, what are the best parts? What's the best part of the comic book industry, and what do you consider the worst parts of the comic book industry?
Best part of the comic book industry is that, unlike movies and even music, there are ways that you can meet the person that made this comic book that you like. If they're still alive and well, you can go to a comic book convention and you can meet the writer, the artist, the colorist of the thing that you are buying off the shelf, and 9 times out of 10 it'll be cool. And that's something you can't really do in other industries and hobbies. You can meet that person and sometimes not have to fly somewhere or spend a whole lot of money. Worst part about the industry, sometimes things sell out too fast. You can't get more copies. Sometimes things just go too quickly. New Ben 10 #1 came out. People didn't know second printing on the way, but
yeah. Okay. I love it. All right. I'm going to put you now. We got to get you into some controversy. Now. So question number 4, I want to know who is more valuable to the comic book industry. Is it real readers, comic book readers, or comic book collectors?
You already know the answer. The comic book reader. Okay. It's a comic book reader that comes back to see what happens next. Your comic book collector that maybe just wants only Magic the Gathering covers. They got the covers, are out of there. They're only in it for #1 key issues. They got the key issue they want, they're out of there, right? It is your reader, the person that wants to see what happens next. That is what keeps all of this going. That's what keeps all of this going. Your weekly, your monthly participant in the comic book industry that carves out a part of their entertainment diet for comic books. That's who keeps all this working. Always was.
That's a fact. Now, a lot of people wouldn't have said that. A lot of people don't want to scare off the collectors, but
I'm not a lot of people.
That's true. That's very true. Okay, now, Jermaine, I'm gonna have you do some. This is gonna be tough. It might not be tough for you, but it's gonna be tough because for question 5, we always try to do a top 5 list, and we get our guests to make a top 5 list off the top of their head. And for you, sir, you already know what I'm gonna ask you. I want to know who are the top 5 Transformers.
According to whom? According
to you. According to you, sir.
Top 5 Transformers?
The definitive list is coming out right now.
We're talking about like comics, cartoon, like action figure. What are we talking about? This you can't.
Jermaine top 5.
All right. Top 5. Megatron. You count Galvatron as a separate person? I do. Galvatron.
Okay.
Soundwave's got to be up there. But then we're also doing. Let's see if you're paying attention. Desaurus. Overlord, asked and answered.
Okay, all right. Hey, there you go. There's the list.
I'm still on the clock.
There's the list. Okay, I love it. See, the one thing me and Jermaine have talked about this many times. I am not necessarily the right age that Transformers impacted me the way that it did many people.
It's never too late. It's never too late.
It might be. I love Beast Wars though. Me and Beast Wars get along very fine.
Awesome.
So, but man, thank you for doing that for us. This week, Quick Takes has been brought to you by 5-Star Comic Con. We are 29 days, 3 hours, and 12 minutes away from 5-Star Comic Con in Dayton, Ohio. Me and Kyrun will be there. We're gonna have a good time, and it's June 20th and 21st. Make sure y'all get y'all tickets. Kyrun, back to you, sir.
Jermaine, we appreciate you being on, sir.
I love this. This was so much fun. I would hope to be able to do it again very soon. It's been a lot of fun. Sorry I wasn't, fully energized. But even when I got nothing in that glass, I've still got something for comic books.
No, you did great. I mean, this is the best episode we've done today. So thank you so much.
Jermaine can just turn it on like that, man. Don't let him fool you. He's probably very tired. And this might be his flu game right now, but Jermaine just knows how to turn it on when it's time to talk comics for sure.
And after this, he's gonna consume some Energon and then go to sleep.
Exactly. Stasis mode entirely.
We do want to make sure that our listeners follow you and keep up with everything that you're doing in Acme Comics. So, where's the best places online for them to do that?
Please do look for Acme Comics on Instagram. If you use Blue Sky, Lord Retail over there. And otherwise, if you're ever in North Carolina, please come through and tell me that you heard about us from the show. That'd be great.
Next time I come to North Carolina, I'm not going to talk to Danny. I'm going to make my way to you so I can see this amazing shop. Danny is not going to help me get there. I don't know why.
I'm keeping the light on for you.
All right, thank you, Danny. Where's the best places online for people to keep up with you?
You know, the best place to find me is our website, fourthwallpros.com. If you want to find me online, it's at the Ace Blade on all social media platforms. Kai, where can people find you, sir?
You can find me online at tauruscomics.com. I am on all social media platforms at Taurus Comics. And this is the first time you ever checked out our podcast, you can go to our website, fourtalespodcast.com. That is the number 4, TALES podcast.com. You can listen to previous episodes. You can buy merchandise, support us that way. Join us next week because apparently Danny says I have to come back again next week. So join us next week where we're going to have writer Frank Osgood on the show talk about his books. Until then, though, everybody, sayonara, goodbye, and please take care of yourselves.
Music provided by my brother, Quix Made It. Find him online in YouTube, Instagram, and SoundCloud.
I want to know what it is Quick is trying to say.